Hi everyone, welcome to day 8 of my 30-day coding challenge where I'll try to code a website end to end in 30 days. So this is day 8. I have finally completed CSS. So this was the last day of CSS. So that means that I have a little bit of proficiency in HTML and CSS. If I were to say I feel more confident in HTML than CSS, simply because I was not able to put a lot of time into practicing CSS, where I was able to practice HTML more. I probably would have gotten 2 days of practice in HTML, and in CSS, I probably would have been only be able to invest, let's say, 1 day or so. But it felt like it's quite intuitive. So I'm guessing, like, I mean, if I'll have to code anything in CSS later on to style the page, I'll probably be relying more on Google, so that like if I know how I want to style the website, then I'll just quickly Google it and hopefully it will give me the command that I'll be looking for. Well, in terms of next steps after CSS, so I reverted to my plan, and the plan is to go a little deeper in JavaScript now. So I researched the course about JavaScript and found the same course, the same channel, basically Super Simple Dev. They had a course on JavaScript as well, so I started that. It's a pretty big course. It's about 22 hours long. So it's going to take big chunk of my next week, I believe. And it's quite interesting as well. If you have a little bit of grasps on CSS and HTML, I believe understanding Java also becomes a little bit easier, because everything starts from HTML, then it goes into CSS, then you come to Java. JavaScript is basically used to make your website more interactive. With HTML and CSS, you can make a static web page, but if you want to include more functionalities into your website, such as if you want to, let's say, upload a page in your website, or if you want to embed more pages or links in your website, then you make use of Java essentially. So today, in one example, while I was trying to learn Java, I was coding a cart, Amazon cart, for example, where what happens behind the scene when you click add to cart, or when you click buy two, or +3, +4, or you reset the cart. So that's the practical example I was doing, as you can see on screen. This took about like 30-40 minutes for me to get my head around, and like, I mean, it will take some time for me to make sense of all the new syntax that's going to get introduced in Java. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully with JavaScript, at least so far in this JavaScript course, I have been able to practice my HTML and CSS as well. So that's a big advantage. I thought like I'll probably will not be touching these languages for good amount of time, and then maybe I'll have to potentially take out time for these languages to practice on my own, but that's not the case. It's sort of a continuity. So even if we are coding in JavaScript, we are also making some use of HTML and CSS. So that's a good part. That means I will be able to maintain some continuity at least this week as well, and probably be able to practice some concepts from HTML and CSS while practicing Java. So that's great. And in terms of Java, it seems a little bit complicated, more complicated than CSS. It's not as intuitive as CSS was, because CSS is basically like styling your page, and Java, you have some particular syntax that and command that you'll have to learn and memorize. So like, I mean, it's definitely more complicated than HTML or CSS. But I mean, it's just 1 day. I probably would have practiced for 3.5 hours or so. So time will tell how it's gonna evolve. But from the initial point of view, it seems like a little bit more complicated than CSS and HTML. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'll be putting the link below into the description for today's resources. It's the same channel that I've been following, Super Simple Dev, and that's their JavaScript course. So as I said, like this week looks like it's going to be all about JavaScript, learning JavaScript, and hopefully I'll try to get as much practice as I can. Today I invested about 4.5 hours total into the learning. 1 hour was to finish the CSS, and then remaining 3.5 hour doing this course. I'm almost at 2 hour mark in this course and still 20 hours to go. So I guess it's going to take about good bit of 25-30 hours if I'll be completing the exercises side by side. So this week is sorted in terms of JavaScript practice. And good thing is, like, obviously I'll be able to combine HTML and CSS as well while I'll be doing JavaScript. Yeah, initial impression of JavaScript is yeah, it's going to be a little bit more complicated and dense in comparison to CSS and HTML, but time will tell how we're going to do. Well, in terms of VS Code, I'm still getting used to how to make most use of it. VS Code came in quite handy for HTML and CSS because most of the commands there and syntax there is intuitive. So you just type the thing that you want to change and it gives you, it basically fills the rest of the words. But for JavaScript, because it's not an intuitive language and it's probably not semantic as well, I'm not 100% sure. So it's because you'll have to basically memorize or probably Google the syntax that you actually want to use, or you want to go deep into functionality, then you'll basically have to practice those commands and those syntax. So yeah, it's not helping me much in JavaScript, but it was a huge help during CSS and HTML. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope the reviews motivate you or inspire you in any way, shape, or form to take up a language or try it on your own. If it does, please let me know in the comments. Well, anyway, it does inspire me, or like at least gives me this sense of obligation to come here and post videos about it. And yeah, that's probably that's probably would have been helping me in continuing my journey to learn the web development, and it has been great so far. So thank you very much. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.